Good to see. Good to see everyone.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Good to see everyone.
Same here.
Right. So, welcome to the Alien Spaceship with myself, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me bruv.
And with me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Cuz.
And me, Femi Madarela, and he called me Femo.
Right. So, I think there's a topic. There's a topic that keeps doing the circle on our show, and it's the
Yeah.
gender equality one. I don't. It keeps doing the circle on our show. It just won't leave us alone. Leave us alone, gender equality. Right. So it's the Olympics. There's a female boxer. Right. So there's a female boxer. Apparently, she's born a female. She's actually genetically, biologically a female. But I've seen her. She punches like a male, and I, I'm gonna say this cautiously, but she does look like a male. She does a little bit, a little bit. So, has anyone seen this this lady? Has anyone seen any of her fights? Have you any thoughts?
I've not actually seen any of our fight, but I've seen that headline in the news where she was actually fighting another female opponent from, I can't remember what country now. And the
Italy.
female opponent,
Italy.
while the match was going on, the fight was going on, she was mourning and complaining, saying, "This is not right. This is a male I'm
Mm,
fighting against," and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a genetical thing. You sometimes I've worked, come in contact with people, and far off, you're looking at them like, this is a man coming my way. And by the time you get close to them, you find out that, whoa, this is actually a female. I'm not talking about a transgender now. I'm talking about somebody actually born a female, but physically, you think this is a man. I remember a South African athlete one time, I think it was in the Olympics or the All African Games. You need to see how she looks. She looks so masculine. She runs like a man, but she was actually born a girl.
Wow.
So I think it's a genetical thing. I mean, maybe I wouldn't want to say it's a deformation or something like that, but can you imagine a female having the strength of a male? I used to have a girlfriend back in those days when I was still young. She beats a man. I tell you, she's that strong. She beats men. So some people are like that. They've got that strength.
Yeah.
And I think it's a genetical thing. Maybe they took most of the gene from their dad and or the strength and every other thing from their dad. So it does happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
So what happened, Femi? Did you hightail it out of there with that girlfriend?
Do you know what? We usually, anytime she comes over, we usually have like a wrestling match. We put this mattress on the ground and we start fighting. And sometimes I used to give her like a headlock and she said, oh, no, stop now. But she is strong,
Wow.
very strong.
Mm.
Wow. Right. Well, Trevor.
Well, okay. I mean, initially, this story at the Olympics sort of came out a bit. I think everybody thought it was a transgender situation, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, it was a person born a man, because,
Yeah.
as you say, there was a certain maleness about the person, but had what's the word, gone across to become a woman. And manifestly, that would be very unfair. And of course, we're touching on a subject which has been very much in the political news for quite a long time. People like J.K. Rowling, complaining that lots of women's sports, for example, all their world long time. People like J.K. Rowling, complaining that lots of women's sports, for example, all their world records are being smashed by people who are allowed to compete in women's sports. And I would have thought most reasonable thinking people would say, yeah, that cannot be right. If necessary, do a separate section for transgender people, because clearly they also need to be catered for. But anyway, with the Olympics, the Olympic Committee then said, no, this person, they initially said it was a person who had a very rare genetic disorder where they actually are born with both male and female genitalia.
Yeah.
In other words, they had an XY chromosome and XX chromosome. But then that also turned out to be not the case.
Yeah.
They simply eventually said, no, this person, as Femi said, and as you said, Emmy, this person was born a female. And I think what confused everybody was a few months ago, we'll say obviously, she was disqualified from at least 2 tournaments, boxing tournaments, because of her testosterone levels. They were too high. So rather than being banned or thrown out because of the XY chromosome, which it wasn't, she was thrown out for having too much testosterone. Now, as we all probably know, women have testosterone as well as men, in the same way that men have estrogen as well as women, but obviously it's a very different quantity. So it seems to me that this boxer, she probably has an above average level of testosterone, which gives her a much stronger punch. And indeed, the Italian boxer, a policewoman, I think she is, she gave up after 46 seconds of the first round, and she was crying on her knees, saying, I've never been hit as hard as this. This is not fair. And that was the end of that. But it's a very difficult one, because if this person was born a female, then you could say the Olympic Committee were right to admit her into the women's boxing. So it's a very difficult one to take forward, isn't it?
Yeah. I think there was another bit of confusion there, because now I can't remember what bodies did the test. So there was 2 separate bodies, and one of them came back to say, right, she can't compete, and then the other one said, yeah, she's definitely a woman, and there was that confusion, wasn't it? And I think it was cleared up, but I think the Olympic spotting body, I think they got a lucky escape this time, because it could have well been a man. And then what? And then what are you going to do? It could have been a man that is transgendered, or a woman that is transgendered. And then what are you going to do? I mean, how are they going to police this? Or how are they going to, try to rectify this and make it a level playing field for all athletes involved? That still remains a big question, don't it? So
I think,
go on.
I think with this case of this Algerian, is it Algerian? She's Algerian, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
she is. Case of this Algerian lady now, it's an eye opener.
Yeah,
in female sports now, that before anyone goes into any competition, there's going to be proper screening, because this issue has been coming up and coming up and coming up now. And don't get me wrong, now they might end up putting it as one of the rules that a transgender is not allowed to participate in a female sport.
Yeah.
Because it's, to be honest, it's unfair.
Yeah.
It's very unfair.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about this lady who's actually